In fact, I want you to take a look at this mini leaderboard, and he almost trebles the size of his lead with Meek and Bouffier ready to pounce. But I say pounce, where? In this weather? Here, stage 3? And if so, when? Push too hard and it could be terminé. And the world champion knows he has to be patient. You know, he was born and brought up round here near Gap, but even he is taking extra care downhill. Will you look at this? Can you imagine? Because the world champion admits he's on the wrong tyres for this kind of road. Just coast. Just pray. Just try and resist the temptation to keep that right foot in.
Sebastian, the rear wheel's a bit bent. That's from the first stage, yeah? How difficult is it to drive with that?
It's not an advantage, of course, but we were careful, just try to finish the loop. We were completely wrong with the meteo this morning, and the rally is still long.
This is Brian Bouffier, who has wasted no time in forcing his way into the reckoning here. The Frenchman was hired as Hyundai's test driver last year. You might be able to see the irony. And the Frenchman has form as well. In 2011, he won this event. And he's crossed his tyres now. He's got a mixture of snow and slick rubber, and it works again. He takes the lead off Kubica.
I think we did a quite good tyre choice. I tried to exploit them as much as possible, but for sure was not easy, but better than the guys in slick. Okay, I think up to now we are doing quite a good job. We stay on the road, which is really not easy. So up to now quite good. I'm quite happy.
Robert, meanwhile, is going slowly backwards and is also passed by this guy, Chris Meek, who last year thought the pole was going to beat him in the race to this car. Chris got the deal, got the car, and now takes second place off Robert as well. Why? Because he's got those snow tyres on, and you can see here why he needs them.
So another dramatic twist, and it's all changed at the top. Brian Bouffier storming into the lead thanks to his tyre choice. Chris Meek and Hyundai's Danny Sordo also benefiting. They're up to second and third. Kubica down to fourth, having lost almost a minute and a half. Back at service in Gap, the drivers have time to reflect on one tough morning back at work.
You know, I was a bit frustrated because on the first stage it was a lot of snow, and I knew I had my two snow tires in the boot and I couldn't use them. But anyway, I must be happy because now it's working well.
It's a very difficult morning. Nobody expected it to be as the winter conditions. The temperature dropped immediately as we left the service park and it began to snow. And luckily we had 2 winters in the boot, but incredibly difficult morning. We were lucky with the tyres, and we find ourselves in second position, so it's good for the moment, but a long, long way to go.
You're an expert at speed on tarmac, but what was that first stage like? Was it a surprise to you?
There was nothing to do with tarmac. Wherever there was tarmac, there was a lot of water, ice, snow, dust, gravel, so yeah, difficult.
What was the word that went through your mind after that first stage?
I can't really repeat that.
That was a bit of an eye-opener.
Yeah, for sure. You know, almost immediately into the stage we started having snow and not expecting it at all, so we had to tootle through on slick, so difficult experience.
Our tower choice was quite good, and that's the reason why. Well, at the end, after 3 stages, we served. So it's okay. It's with the weather condition and everything, but no, we can be happy with this position at the moment.
Now look, I'll keep it a secret, but what do you choose by way of tyres this afternoon?
I don't know, and if it's a secret, I can tell you.
Well, for the second loop, we are going with full snow tires on the car. It's a safe choice, and also according to the information we had from the stages, it should be okay.
It is still raining. Now we, the spectators, have a decision to make. Do we go for the full jacket, or do we improvise and go for a bin liner? This weather is not getting any better, but Danny Sordo is making progress. His team can monitor his drive now. They can learn about the car. That's what they said they wanted to do in Monte Carlo. Sordo being careful to look after his car, and by doing so, he's thrilling Hyundai because he finishes this stage, that's stage 4, in 3rd place.
Indeed he does, John. Some good news then for Hyundai as Sordo stakes his claim for the podium. Bouffier still leads by 27 seconds now ahead of Meek, but it's Jari-Matti Latvala who wins that stage and finally makes it up into the top 10. As the crews now head through the countryside of the Utz Alp, passing through the villages on their way to stage 5. Plenty of interest here, even in the road section. But after that bright turn for Dani Sordo, suddenly things not looking so good. The Spaniard stops on the road section and he has problems. Sordo apparently is struggling to restart that Hyundai.
Danny, what's wrong?
The battery was, I want to start the car and not battery in the car, so no, we can do nothing.
Not push it?
Yeah, but if not battery, it's impossible. I tried to push and everything, but we need for the pump and everything, you know.
And after some early promise, Sordo is forced to admit defeat, which means both Hyundais are now out on this, their return to the WRC, even before the end of the opening day. Dani Sordo down and out. We have 2 more stages still to run on this opening day, and they are next. Welcome back to the opening round of the 2014 World Rally Championship. Monte Carlo proving a big challenge for the world's elite drivers and the WRC's leading support category. Ukrainian Yuri Protasov finished 3rd in last year's series, and he kicked off this year's campaign in fine style, building a healthy 36-second lead by the end of day 1. Germany's Armin Kramer moved into 2nd place on the drenched roads of stage 4, maintaining consistent pace throughout the day, while behind him, Italian Lorenzo Bertelli was left to rue a costly spin early on in the snow of stage 3. He had been setting the early pace. Bertelli's caution after his spin has left him 2 minutes off the lead and well over a minute behind 2nd place Armin Kramer. Protasov then, the man to beat in the WRC2 series, as we now rejoin John.
Back to the main event. What do we see here? Water. Yes, plenty of that around this weekend. Now, I said earlier on that the regulations on the Monte don't give a driver a second chance. Well, that's not entirely true, because what they do allow them to do is to learn from their lessons. And the world champion is one of those. He learns his lesson. He wins the final 2 stages of the day by ditching the slick tyres and enjoying the better snow specification rubber. Robert Kubica has impressed everybody on this, his first day, and he's even had to deal with something rattling around in the footwell of his car. If we listen in, we might be able to hear it. If you don't look at this unbelievable speed that he's driving at, that is. Chris Meek is on a tyre selection at the moment that he has never even tested before, let alone competed on. But so far, so good.
And 5 right minus into slow corner minus tightens.
Meek and his co-driver Paul Nagel are too far behind the rally leader to kind of be tempted into any rash move as they come to the end of day 1. This has been a dream drive. He's in 2nd place on the Monte. And he's also got his sense of humour.
Chris, I saw a nod at the head from Paul there. That probably tells me that you're up to second at the end of day one on Monte Carlo. That is some dream, isn't it?
It is, but there's a long way to go to get to Monte Carlo. But it's nice to nip in front of Robert again, and it's good for road position. Now I'm the one that can kick out the dirt tomorrow.
And finally, back to the Hyundai situation, even though that is a Fiesta. This is Brian Bouffier, who is rubbing salt in the new team's wounds. On the day that Neuville and Sordo retire, Bouffier, as a privateer entry on this event, leads on his return into service in Gap. And he's their test driver.
So after a treacherous opening day, Frenchman Brian Bouffier in his Ford Fiesta leads the Monte Carlo rally. Chris Meek just 7/10 ahead of Robert Kubica. World champion Ogier is fourth, some 47 seconds behind the leader. Elvin Evans can be happy with 6 ahead of the Finns, Latvala and Hirvonen. All in all, a day of mixed emotions.
When you are leading after 2 stages and then yeah, you get catched by a lot of snow in one stage and we lost nearly 1.5 minutes. It's always painful, but I have to be realistic, and if someone would tell me that I will win 2 stages in day 1 in Monte Carlo, I will sign it straight away.
It was a really tough day. You know, we had all the condition like a real Monte Carlo. We had mud, we had some snow, some rain. So, and we could go through this weather condition. How to say, with a good tire choice. We had quite how to say, we have chosen also good technical choice on the car. So all was working more or less perfectly.
Well, that's the end of a fascinating opening day of the season. History suggests there are plenty more twists and turns to come as the crews now head for some of the most notorious stages in World Rally. Hope you can join John Desborough and myself, Kevin Piper, for the trip to Monte Carlo tomorrow. For now, though, thanks for watching.